we are setting up the live streaming now. 3, 2, 1, and blast off. Fantastic. We are live. Welcome online, everybody. This is Members Night for Neumi, which happens every single Wednesday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Now, Neumi is an international business. What do I mean by that? 74 countries, 15 languages. Most of my teams, we have to converse in hieroglyphics because they speak different languages and I can't understand them. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to say to anyone who's on who is bilingual, because I'm looking up at Florence, right? That if you want these slides at the end, so you can translate them and represent them in your teams, in your language, knock yourself out. Just reach out to me and I'll certainly give you this topic, because this is one of the most important topics for a network marketer if you want to succeed, that we're going to cover off today. Having said that, as I said, everybody who's on here obviously speaks English, fingers crossed, and I speak Australian, which is different. So we've got people on right now from Western Australia. We have New Zealand, Canada, Texas. What do we got there? Ontario, New Zealand again. We've got a hi, Michael. We've got Hungary at 1 a.m. in the morning. Now that is commitment. Well done. We got Canada again, Phoenix, Ohio, more Canadas. Canadas are coming in thick and fast this morning. Texas, Canada, Nevada, Toronto, Virginia, Ontario, Canada again. Canada, well done. All right. And today, to kick off the session, which is going to be a topic every single member in your team, you want them to hear. Before we do, to kick off the session today, I'm going to hand you to our Vice President of Sales, if you want to unmute, buddy. And Sergio is going to cover off a few announcements before we get into the training for the day. So I'll hand the call to you.
Hey everyone, how you doing? It's so nice to greet you. It's always a very nice time for us as we are looking into this third month with this new promotion that we've had that we talked about. We had a wonderful members night with Steve last Wednesday, and I'm on here today again because sometimes we just don't have the opportunity to do recognition in months like the next, even when the first day of the month is a Wednesday. And so I want to just take a few moments to recognize some of these wonderful members worldwide that have done so much. And we'll get started first with the February rank advancements, please, Michael.
Yep, let's bring it up.
Awesome, Michael. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And yes, I will be honest, Michael. I've learned from you on one of your trainings about, lowering the blinds and such. But yes, I am in a vehicle at the moment. But just to show the commitment, I didn't want to just record a video. I wanted to take a moment to say hello and to really congratulate all of you for your rank advancements. I actually have a lot of members that are on there. I know personally, and I've seen them kind of from the time they've joined Neumi and now going to 1 stars, going to 2 stars, and now even double diamond. So congratulations. I know that we're going to have a lot more to come as we head into next month, especially with the 3X promotion. Now, what I really want to do at this time is congratulate all of the members worldwide that participated in the Neumi Team Challenge. This is the very first team challenge that we had. And part of the reason we wanted to do this, to go along right after the NYKOs, is because we hear the importance of having momentum as a team, having that unity. there is just something about working together that brings the best out of all of us. I had the privilege to interview and be on a brief call this morning with our second place winner from the EMEA region. And one thing that stuck out is that one of the comments from one of the team members said, this was probably one of the biggest challenge I've ever had, but what made a difference is that we were working together as a team, giving it our all. So that's what it's all about. Now, if you'd like to join me, I would like to congratulate now some more winners. Michael, maybe you're not surprised when you see some names from Hungary. We have some wonderful people to recognize from all over the world. But just as a reminder, the teams that will be coming to Utah will be the Jaromir team from the EMEA region, who won the first place in global. We also have the Rice Now team led by Davide Lombardi, who will be coming in from the EMEA region. And we have the Kazakh Stars led by Victoria Lee, who will be joining us representing the APAC region. Now, let's go ahead and make some noise for the other winners. I want to remind you that there are a lot of surprises that go along with this. If you were part of a team and you got 60 points as a team, you will soon get a very nice Neumi backpack. We're actually already working on shipping those out. We're also shipping the everything but the everything but the suitcase packing cubes as well. So I received confirmation of that today, and you will soon also start getting the backpack. So congratulations to all of you that participated, and you will be getting your backpacks very soon. More details to come. Now, I want to remind you that there are other prizes in this team challenge. So the second place winners for the APAC and EMEA regions, they're going to get $1,000 credit as a team to host a team party to celebrate their success, to get that camaraderie, that unity with them. And that's not all. Each team member will get a $250 credit so that they can spend the night at a hotel to enjoy their night out. So that's what the second place winners will get. And here are the second place team winners, okay? So for the EMEA region, we have the Fortune team, and this is led by Andrea Belli, who is all the way from Hungary. Congratulations to that wonderful team. They are the ones that I got to speak with this morning. Thank you for your hard work, and we are looking forward to continue to recognize you throughout the week. This is just the beginning. We'll also like to recognize, representing the APAC region, second place, all the way from Indonesia. It's the amazing team, and that's led by Jao Maria Wibisono. Congratulations. I emailed you today, so hopefully you're here listening. Congratulations, and we look forward to rewarding that to you next week. Now, the third place winners, they also get something. And the third place winners will get a $400 team dinner. And then that's not all. Each team member will get a self-care credit, whether you want to apply that for a massage, for a spa treatment, whatever you'd like. Each member will get $150 for that. And the third place winner for the EMEA region is the team Megstar, okay? This is led by Fakoya Opeyemi. So congratulations. And the third team representing Indonesia is, and the APAC region is Ongels Elizabeth. This is the Moluccas team. That's the leader is Ongels, and it's the Moluccas team. Congratulations. And guess what? We had some runner-ups that we didn't want to stop there. So we have two runner-up teams that we're going to recognize today. And representing the EMEA region, it's the Revolution team. And representing an additional team there, it's the Next Diamonds team. So one is the Revolution team is led by Jose Antonio Quiles Molines, and the Next Diamonds team is led by Manuel Francisco Saleandro Carbonell. So congratulations, this fourth place and fifth place runner-ups, they get a $400 team dinner. So go enjoy. We'll start. How are you going to get this cash? Well, we're going to just make that deposit to your Neumi wallets, and we should start seeing that next week. And we can't wait to share pictures with all of you from these wonderful get-togethers that our teams will have worldwide. Michael, I think I've taken a lot of time already, but it's just something so exciting. Today was a special day for me where I just dedicated the day to celebrating the success of our members worldwide. And there's nothing better than that. So congratulations. And thanks for joining us with this wonderful first Neumi Team Challenge. Back to you, Michael.
Beautiful. And congratulations to everybody. What do they say? Baby steps build empires. So you hit senior members, one goal, hit the next one star, try and rank advance every month. And it doesn't take very long to build a huge business. So well done. So the topic today is something that I'm passionate about because you've heard this statement before. If you haven't, maybe write it down. You will teach best what's hardest to learn. I'll say it again. You will teach best what's hardest to learn. So this is a topic that I struggled to really get on board with in the early stages of my career. When I did, my business took off. All I can say is it was my blind spot. Maybe this is your blind spot. I don't know. Now, I'm going to interview a few people with this today, but I'm also going to kick off with some slides first. So let me just kick off with that first and get into the topic. So the topic is third-party validation. Discover the secret to faster growth that does separate the biggest leaders from the slow growth businesses. Now, I want to make this note at the start, and I added this to our old slides. It's also the reason why some people at higher ranks plateau. Put your hand up if you've maybe got a teenager in your life. I just want to see. Put your hand up. Who's got the cameras on? Anyone had a teenager in their life at any point? A couple of people putting their hands up here and there. All right. So what is common about a teenager? And I love my kids to bits, don't get me wrong, but I will never forget this. When I was about 18 to 19, my dad said to me, because he was really angry with me because I just wasn't listening, he said, you watch, you'll get turned 21 and I'll suddenly become intelligent. And he did. It was amazing. It was like this crystal ball. So that meant I wasn't teachable. I was one of those arrogant teenagers who knows everything. Now, in this industry, I've been the arrogant teenager who goes, yeah, I don't need that because I already know what I'm doing. I'm hoping that's not your blind spot. Okay, so I can say one finger pointing out there, three pointing at me. I was that arrogant teenager who said, what do you need? I know sales. I know what I'm doing. I don't need your systems. Well, I didn't hit crown when I was the arrogant teenager. In fact, this is interesting for you. I hit diamond as an arrogant teenager, but I didn't get beyond diamond until I started opening my mind to listening to mentors with bigger businesses than me. Okay, so let's get back into the topic. So we hope you don't plateau at a higher rank as well, because you suddenly think you know everything, right? Stay green and growing, not ripe and rotting, always. So the biggest, just checking my slide here, the biggest misconceptions about building big with Neumi, right? Do you understand the 3 Ps? Product, that'll do it for me. We've got the greatest product in the world. It's got to share the product. I'll build a huge business. Well, personality. You know what? I've got sales skills, Michael. This was me, right? I don't need your systems because look, I know. Every time I open mouth, somebody joins. So it obviously is working versus process. So let's just go through them one by one. Product. If you just lead with product and don't learn any of the things I'm going to say, can you build a business? Yes. Will you build a crown business? No. Say it again. If you just lead with product, can you build a business? Yes. Will you hit crown? Never. Right? Because there is a gear change from, say, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, up to diamond. And there's a gear change from diamond to crown. Now, I can only say this having been through it, but I'm also humble enough to say this. I have a downline earning more money than me now, which is Karen Justice as a double crown. So when it comes to teaching you how to be a double crown, I won't even open my mouth because I'm not arrogant anymore. And I don't know how to be a double crown because I'm not one. But I'll refer you to listen to Alex and Karen till I am, okay? Let's be humble enough to know that. So product is important and don't downplay it. It's amazing, but that won't be the only solution if you really want a big, fast-growing business. That's the blind spot for some people. The next one, as I said, personality. You might be the sort of person that understands sales inside out. You open your mouth. People say, oh, I'm going to introduce you to Fred. He's got the gift of the gab. And I go, you know, the gift of the gab, blah, 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 talk, 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 is also known as a curse because they don't shut up and they don't listen. Gift of the gab is not a good thing. Gift of the gab is a curse, right? So personality, don't downplay your skills, right? If you have great people skills, I met someone yesterday who was from the real estate game and I said, hey, bring all of that with you. But the industry is different. So now you're going to need to learn process. And process is the biggest point I'm going to talk about. So personality is good, product is good. Add to that process and you go gangbusters. If you just go product or personality without process, it will be a blind spot and it'll stop you from growing as fast as you could. So what exactly is third-party validation anyway, right? Well, here's a prospect, and here's your upline. So it could be a three-way call where, let's say I'm looking at Larry and Irene. Let's say Irene has Larry as a prospect, and she organizes a three-way call, introduces the two of us, and we have a chat. It could be, and I prefer these now, a three-way Zoom. Why? Because I can look at the body language of Irene and Larry, and I know what's going on. Eventually, as you get good with people skills, you'll pick body language and you can see when they're crossing their arms and eyes and legs, and you go, right, I'm obviously pushing, so I need to back off a bit. You can't tell that as much on a phone when they're not making noises. It could be a group follow-up on Zoom. Now, I remember with Indonesia, when we just launched, it was so much fast growth at one point, 13,000 pre-registrations. I remember Jonathan, the leader over there, saying, hey, there's no way in hell we could do one-on-one follow-ups at the moment. I'm like, that's okay. Just have a daily Q&A. If you've got momentum, knock yourself out. Now, I want to say this, is a group follow-up as productive as a one-on-one? No. Why? Because one-on-one, I can ask Irene all about her, which we'll talk about at the end of the call, and dive into her needs, wants, and desires and pitch according to those things. Whereas if I've got 5 people online, I'm just firing blanks out there, hoping we hit something. So there's more productive one-on-one, requires more work. But hey, if you get momentum going and all you can do is group follow-ups, Q&A, fantastic. That's at least one solution. And then this is a big one, taking someone up to the speaker at the end of an event. Now, if Neumi has a blue event, and if you don't know, blue means open events that the company organises with corporate attending, and we won't be talking any team specifics, we're just talking the greater good of Neumi. When someone is given the microphone at the front of the room as the speaker, that means the company trusts them to do one thing. That is, at the end, people will bring their prospects up to the speaker. If you sit in the crowd talking to your prospect, you don't understand network marketing. You grab your new prospect and you walk straight up to the front of the room to the speaker and you say, hi, Alex, this is my friend Irene. This is her background. She's here for the first time. I thought I'd introduce you. And then shut up and let him weave his magic. Now, the speaker knows that if you're not in their team, to give greater good inspiration, but not get involved in specifics because, maybe that team does something slightly different. So they have the respect of not letting ego as a speaker take over from telling other groups what to do. So they're there just to inspire and, everyone in the room. Doesn't matter whose team they're in. If they've been given the microphone as at a blue event, they're there for everyone, not their own team. Okay, so if you are a speaker, stay up the front, meet new people from all groups if it's a blue event, because that's why we brought you in. So that's what third-party validation is. Here's 5 reasons that third-party validation is critical. Number 1, conversion. Now, this is actually a fact, and that is that it improves the conversion for new members who have very little knowledge as their prospects get their questions answered with confidence. Now, confidence attracts, nervousness or lack of confidence repels. Dogs smell fear, animals smell fear, people smell doubt and lack of confidence. So by bringing a third party onto the call and having them answer the questions while you listen, a brand new person gets 5 gears higher, if you like, of confidence in that call. So that's number 1. Number 2, the second thing is duplication. The process of duplication demonstrated immediately how simple the system is because no one needs to know all the answers before starting. Did you know they say somewhere between 3 and 5% of the population are sales types? This is where people like me got it wrong, going, hey, I know what I'm doing. Every time I open my mouth, I got the gift of the gab, everyone joins. So falsely, they think it's working, Michael. I don't need your system. Look at me. I've just gone through to 3-star really fast. Let's see if it continues or you plateau, like I'm saying, when you hit diamond because you suddenly know it all, right? So stay green and growing. Only 3 to 5% of the population are like you if you have that so-called gift of the gab. Everybody else is nervous about selling. So this is why duplication in the process works so well. Next one, edification. The process ensures edification as a leader cannot edify themselves, or it comes across as egotistical and self-obsessed instead of humble and knowledgeable. So if I say, hey, do you know how smart I am? I've been in the industry for 40 years. You should listen to me. That sounds very egotistical versus Larry saying to Karen, hey, Michael, is this, been in the industry for a while, you should have a listen. So someone else edifies me. It has power. If I try and edify myself, I lose power. Number 4, community. The process makes the prospects much stickier because they feel part of a community rather than just connected to you as one individual. A lot of people struggle to understand this one, but it's huge when people feel part of more things. So when I say this, if I'm recruiting you, I will have you as step 2 on a call with Alex. Even though I'm a founding advisory board member with 40 years experience and 20 years in glutathione, I will still have Alex answer your questions. Why? Because I'm smart enough to know that if I don't, you won't, and I won't duplicate. Now, the only difference to that might have been if someone throws themselves in the boat. I'm chugging along on my boat and a fish goes putting into the boat. I'm like, didn't need Alex there. But what I will probably do is introduce that person to Alex later just to say, hey, we didn't do this, but this is the normal process. That's what I would have done if you hadn't just thrown yourself into the net. And number 5, and this is the biggest one. If you forget everything I've said, it's this one: empowerment. What do I mean? The process gradually empowers the new members with all of the right answers to the questions, and additionally teaches people skills on how to handle themselves best on a call with a prospect in real time. How do you make sure that all your frontline are fantastic at doing 3-way calls and Zoom so that you can send a postcard from the Bahamas and tell them how awesome they are while you're not doing anything? You empower them. Otherwise, if you keep doing it forever and you're not empowering others, you will plateau again. So you have to empower others to do exactly the same process as well. So rather than take my word for this, and assume that, hey, this is my opinion, because I always say this is my way of looking things. That's the way I see it. And my beautiful friend Rhonda Dasher, one of the founding advisory board members, said to me once, Michael, bring on other people, because when we hear it from other perspectives, different sides, they give us a 360-degree view on the topic. And I loved her comment on that. And I'm green and growing, not ripe and rotting. So I said, I will do that on every call. So I'm going to bring in a few people. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Facebook, did you know that when we finish this topic, if we have enough time, we open it up for a Q&A and we switch off the live streaming. So if you're not in the Zoom room, you don't get to hear any of the questions. A lot of people lately have said the most productive part for them was the end when we got to ask questions. So we will switch off. Why? We'll switch it off because if someone asks a non-compliant or silly question, it won't be on the recording and I won't have to delete it. That's why. Plus, it's encouraging people to be on live rather than just always relying on, recordings, which is not what leaders generally do. So I'm going to play this video first, and then I'm going to ask Larry to make comment. So just bear with me. This is my beautiful friend, Karen Justice, who is a double crown, earning more money than me and my team. And I say, we need to shut up and listen to what she has to say because she obviously knows what she's doing. So we asked her the question, how important was third-party validation for you joining Neumi? Now, she's a double crown. Take some notes. Have a listen to this.
Well, I think that one of the great things about our type of business is what they call leverage. And basically that means you're not in business alone. You're leveraging your team's capabilities as well as your own. And a great example of how this works is with 3-way calls, when you can introduce a potential prospect or a new sign up to your upline. And I know it really worked for me. And when I joined Neumi, I was really burnt out. And when Larry talked to me, I was basically saying no in my head. But one of the things he did is he said, he'd like me to take a couple of minutes to meet Michael. And when I did, it's hard to say no when somebody asks you like that. When I did, I realized that Michael was really listening to my long tale of woe. And believe me, it was quite a long one. And empathetic listening, I believe, really is important, because the speaker lets you, gets the idea that you really are understanding their feelings and that you really get their perspective. Once he listened, and he didn't interrupt, he just listened, he explained how he felt basically pretty much the same way. But then he went on to explain the greatness of Neumi and how much he was in love with it now. And because he'd listened so carefully, and I really felt heard, when it was my turn to listen, I really listened when it was his turn to speak. And when he talked afterwards, when he had explained how he felt and the differences, and just some of the exciting things about Neumi, and there's so many, he really underlined that I should try the product, get signed up. But he also said he wanted me to meet someone else in a three-way, and we booked that. And one of the important things about this, I believe, is unless you're really listening to a person, not just interrupting and saying, oh, that isn't the case here, unless you're really listening, you're actually talking past their objections, and they're not really listening to you. So three-way calls and letting a person have their say, and working with your team, leveraging the skills of your team members, is one of the most vital parts of really building a strong, interconnected business, I believe, in network marketing.
Beautiful. So Karen covered that beautifully. Now, there is a double crown. Now, Karen's team turns over about, in excess of $1 million a month, and is in all parts of the world. Now, Karen, I didn't introduce Karen. I met Karen through people in the group. And one of those people is actually Larry Wilson. So Larry, I'm going to bring you on for a second. I just want you to, in a minute or two, just tell everybody, if you can unmute. I've got you muted at the moment. Tell everybody how important was third-party validation in the recruitment process for you with Karen, and what's the outcome?
Okay, well, the first thing I want to say is, first of all, there was trust already with Karen and I from previous business. So that is the number one thing, because without trust, there is nothing. Now, the reason that I am so excited about the three-way is the fact that here I was a month into the company. All I'd done is enjoyed the product and knew enough to know that I knew nothing. So I was anxious to get a hold of somebody, Michael, to be the person to have them explain it, because I didn't have a snowball's chance in hell of explaining what I knew of Neumi. So how important is this to me? Well, this has meant to me tens of thousands of dollars over the past 4 years, and an ongoing income where I'm getting paid 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, all for that one three-way call with Michael.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I haven't heard that before. A snowball's chance in health. That makes sense. Beautiful. All right. So that you heard it from the horse's mouth. So Larry said he was new in the company. What did I say? One of the key reasons is because confidence comes from someone who did know the answer to the question, and he inherited that confidence by having me on the call. Karen talked about listening as well, right? Which is important. Now, there's some of the people I'm looking at now that I know at the start weren't necessarily using third-party validation, but now really are, and they're just sold on it. So with that in mind, I know one person, Irene, if I can get you to unmute. Irene, tell us a little bit about your experience of third-party validation, because, and you can start with this if you like, you have monopolized the Greek world across all of Neumi, and how important was a third party in doing that?
It was instrumental. It was very, very important. And let me tell you something, I didn't have the same situation that Larry had, that he had the trust with Karen. These are people that they reached out to me out of a video that I made, so I didn't even know those people. And I brought them in connection with you. And that was the best thing I've done. I mean, I talked to them a little bit, I created a little rapport, and then I said, let me put you on a three-way call with Michael. And they agreed to it, and I arranged everything. And then it went from there, and it got crazy. The team is exploding because of that three-way call.
Now, let me ask a question prior to that, because it hadn't been taught in your particular case from the upline, were you getting the same sorts of results?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't getting these results at all. I really thought I could do it myself. You know what I mean? But I'm not a network marketer, so I'm not an experience, and I'm learning a lot here. And I do love that we actually all stick together and help each other. And like they say, the edification is very important. If I say stuff like you said, they're gonna feel like, what the heck he thinks he is. But when you said to me, oh, you're, the leader of Greece and all that stuff, it sounds different coming from somebody else, most definitely. So now I will invite anybody to a three-way call if I want them to be a leader. And it is a very good lesson that I learned through this. It's amazing.
Beautiful. Like they say, we teach best what's hardest to learn. So I was the same. And some people come in because they're leading with product and not getting the 3 Ps. I was the personality one going, oh, I can sell. Salespeople are a curse sometimes in network marketing. Now, another person who transformed the way they're doing things is Jean Grosso. So Jean, you want to share a little bit about your experience on third-party validation and how important it was for you as well?
Yes, thank you, Michael. I just want to say how much you have been a big influence and a mentor to me. So I want to thank you for that and the entire Neumi family. I feel so fortunate that I came in the early stages within the first year. So it's 4 years for me now. So when I got started, I didn't know who our team leaders were at all. My sponsor just mentioned that she found something and it was big and I had to see it. So I saw Steve Scott's video and I got it. So I called the company almost every day until I actually got Aaron Renard on the phone. That's a funny story. And I just started enrolling. And I enrolled a few dozen people. And I went on to enroll over 100 people. And then I get a phone call. And I didn't know about the Neumi 123 system. I don't think we had it launched yet. And but I did know about three-way calls, but I didn't have anyone to do with them with. So I got a phone call from a team leader, and he said I was looking. I was like, "Who is this person?" And he said that he was looking down his downline and he sees all this volume, and I said, "Oh," and he introduced himself, who he was, and I said, "Finally, I have somebody." Well, I used him like no tomorrow, and my team doubled and tripled. I mean, I had everybody. That's when I really went into over 100 people. Now, understand this. I have no problem talking to anybody at any given time, at any given place, because of my belief system in this technology, in Steve Scott, in Aaron Renard, the company, the vision, and everything. If I didn't have that, there's no way I would talk to anybody, period. Well, the problem was I enrolled all these people, but those people had never talked to anybody else because I didn't know about the three-way call. So what happened was they all fell off. So I hit all the ranks and I made diamond and I went on all the trips. I was in every single trip and then I plateaued, like you said. And then I said, what am I doing? So I had to go back and revamp, and then now I had to be that three-way call person. So now I was out of my comfort zone. I had to learn some new skills that you and Alex and and Karen, I was just like, Karen, can I use you? And then her Saturday calls. So this is changed my life. I want to say that I've never made significant money before this company and now I'm completely this is my income for my son and I'm a single mom, and this is totally all that I have, and it is because of three-way calls. I wouldn't have a team at all without it.
Wow, that is a very profound ending to that testimonial and feedback. So thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who just shared, because what we're trying to do, like I said, this is my perspective. You might go, yeah, what does Michael know? Well, what about all these other people? What about $1 million a month in one team because of one three-way call? Are you getting it? So let's jump back into some of the slides and just give you a bit of a deeper understanding now on what to do. Oops, wrong button. Let me just do one more button here. I want to take those buttons off to get rid of that and that. Go back to here. All right. So let me talk about the top 5 objections about using Upline. Now, I'm going to say objections, but I'm also going to say excuses, because they're actually excuses, right? You're rationalizing these things. If this is you, you're telling yourself rational lies. You're rationalizing rational lies. Michael, I can manage it. I know what I'm doing. You didn't hear anything up to this point then, did you? Nope. Nope, you didn't. You missed the 3 Ps. You missed the fact that if you manage, you are the personality person who's going to plateau down the track. Jeannie spoke about it. I've spoken about it. Many people speak about it. So I can manage is an excuse. It just means you don't know how to invite properly to a call. Second one, my upline's always busy. Well, again, you just don't know how to invite to the call. Because if you knew how to invite to the call, the last thing you do is go, hey, now that you watched that video, probably got some questions. When are you free? Because they might say Sunday at 6 a.m. Well, I'm not free Sunday at 6 a.m. So you say, once you watch the video, have some questions. When's a good time? I was thinking this one or this one. Yes, yes, answer. People will be led by you. A good leader leads someone to a couple of options. They don't just let the tail wag the dog. Number 3, my friend's so close to me, they don't need to speak to anybody else. We're super close. I know them inside out, Michael. That's even worse. Your friends are the ones you really need a third party on, because I've been on calls where someone tells me about the fact that they've been in depression. I get off the call and the upline to that person or the introducing member goes, we're best friends. They never told me that. I'm like, see, when you're really good at asking questions and you're really good at being genuinely interested in another human being, you'll find out stuff you wouldn't have found out otherwise. Back to what Karen said. Be a good listener if you're the upline. Number 4, I don't want to push people. Well, if you don't ask the question and pre-book a call, guess what happens in reverse? You ring them up. Hey, Kevin, have you watched that video? No, yet? No. Okay, I'll call you next week. Kevin, have you watched that video yet? No. Okay, cool. Now what am I? I'm the annoying person. Now we get into a thing called weirdo world, where he knows that I know that we haven't spoken about it, but we haven't followed up, and I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm annoying. So if you don't want to push, pre-book a meeting. Number 5, prospects tell me no thanks, I don't need a call. That's because you asked them, you didn't follow the process. What do you mean, Michael? Of course I'm going to ask them. No. Let me show you what I mean. Okay. The key is how you set up the call and how you can set it up without objections. So the Neumi 123 training. Now, by the way, Jean mentioned it probably wasn't around then. Guess what? Neumi 123 training was around the very first day we launched the company. Alex and I made sure we had a system from day one. That's the reason for the rapid growth around the world, and the slides are all the same in every country and everything. So yes, it was there, but down a couple of particular lines as we took off in the early days of Neumi starting, some people who are no longer with us anymore might have been those leaders with some big egos who said, I've got a different system to yours. Now, when a big leader comes on board with me, I say, hey, we can't make you do anything, but I just want to point something out. If you create a different system, you're always in every new country going to be battling, because you're going to have every app alert from the company says Neumi 123. Every email says Neumi 123. Every call we do says Neumi 123. So if you're going to run something different, that's totally okay. But you're constantly going to have to say, don't listen to all the other leaders who've succeeded in Neumi, just listen to me. Sounds egotistical, doesn't it? So if it's possible to come under the Neumi 123 in your way of doing business, you can go global fast like I did. I got business in maybe 40 countries of the 74 countries in 15 different languages because I kept it to one simple duplicatable system. So remember the questions your upline taught you when they did your orientation? I put this slide in there today and I'm going, someone's going to go, orientation. I never got an orientation. Go back and tap your upline on the shoulder and say, why haven't I had an orientation yet? Because you need an orientation. It's where you watch the Neumi 123. They send you the Fast Start Guide. They send you the 90-day plan. They work out, are you a detail person or someone who just says, point me in the right direction and let's go. And they gave you all the right tools. So you would have known about the Facebook groups in the process. You would have known about the Neumi 123 questions because they did start you correctly. So quick disclaimer for your upline. maybe their upline didn't get them started properly. So my job here today, all of us today, is to get you back on track. Now, as I went down the business and down, and I met Irene, who brought in the Greek team, I plugged the Neumi 123 in again right there at the start, right, to keep it going again. So sometimes we need to go down, and then re-plug it in because Chinese, I can't say Chinese whispers these days. You know that thing in school they used to say where I say something to you and you say to you and you say to you, and the message is different. Sometimes it is watered down because some people don't understand the impact. So my job, all our leaders' jobs, is to protect the culture of the company, protect the systems and the Neumi 123 and talk about it all the time. That's our job. So here's how to handle yourself if your role is bringing and just being on the call with an upline. Okay, 3 things. Please write this down. So I'm organizing a call. Alex is going to host the call and answer the questions. So my job is to set up the call, edify him and the other person, and then shut up. So what do I mean? So I will literally follow these processes. The call will start. Maybe I'm looking at Jeannie and Irene, and I go, hey, Irene, I just want to explain a little bit about Jeannie. You know, Jeannie's been really successful in this and this and this and this, and we've known each other for years. She lives in the beautiful Hawaii for a while. My God, I'm so jealous. And then I go, now, Irene, let me tell you all about, sorry, Jean, let me tell you all about Irene. You know, Irene was the pioneer of the Greek market, and, you know, her business has gone crazy in the Greek market around the world now. I can't think of anyone better to answer the questions and so forth. So I'm going to shut up, guys. Mute. Why do I mute? My personality is hard to stop talking. I'm honest with myself. So I press mute because of me, right? Now I'm going to tell you the story. I'm a little bit of a ball buster when it comes to being a lion if someone doesn't understand this process. It won't take long till they really understand it if they were sponsored by me. I had a lady who was in South Australia once, and she would get on the call and then she'd say, this is Irene, and, you know, this is how I know her, and da-da-da-da, and then I'd get started talking, and then she'd interrupt and say, oh, yeah, that reminds me of this that happened with my friend and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking she did miss the bit about mute, right? And then I'd talk some more, and then she'd take it on a different tangent. Now, your upline wants to be consultative. How do they do that? Need to lean back in the chair and be more responsive and ask questions and let the conversation flow. If you jump in, even though you think you're adding value, I don't care what rank you are, you might be, if I had a crown on with me, shut up, because it's Alex, my upline, who needs to bond, not you. It's the person who I brought on. I did edify Alex so he can get along really famously with my prospect, and that's why I press mute and shut up, right? So that might take him 2, 3, 4 questions to come to have my prospect go, oh, I get it now. And I just hop in the middle and say something because I like the sound of my own voice, and I totally distract the call, okay? Now, a good upline will say at the end, hey, Jeannie, is there anything you want to add to that? After we know we've got to the certain point. And of course, in that call, they will edify at the end as well, right? Very important. I can't edify myself, but Alex will edify me, right? And that's the key important part of that. So let's hop back in. So 3 stages, just going through them again. 1, set up the call. 2, introduce post people and edify them. And 3, press mute and get out a pen and paper and take notes, because this is where you'll learn. I learned 99% of what I say on a 3-way call listening to Alex on calls. I didn't invent it. There's a couple of things I've said along the way, and he goes, that's genius. I'm going to adopt that too, right? So you'll come up with things and maybe say things, and someone will hear it and go, oh, I love that. Let's answer the question the same way. All right. Now, I'm just going to say this too. We're going to have a Q&A in just a minute. So if there's questions, feel free to get them ready now, because we will answer them at the end after we finish the live stream. So that's what to do if you're new or you're inviting one of your prospects and an upline onto a call. And it doesn't have to be upline, by the way. It can be a downline. It can be a cross line. It can be, generally, don't try not to cross line first, but it can be anybody. It doesn't need to be a rank. It's about anyone but you. That's the key. Because then you can point back to the process and say, what did I do with Neumi 123? I said, hey, watch this video. Now talk to this person. Now try this product. Dumb down the system. Now, what if you're the upline? Now, Karen covered some of this beautifully. Number 1, greeting. Before you shoot off all about Neumi and how good you are and all this rubbish, right? Or even selling Neumi, build rapport. If you jump straight for the jugular and not building rapport, no wonder your downline don't want you on the call. They're scared of using you because you talk and you don't listen. So number one is greet. Number two is qualify. So sometimes these can blur, and I'd love to say I invented this. I heard it from a guy called Tim Sales. I studied him for years. Genius in this industry. So greeting is building rapport, getting to know someone. People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. So I'm making sure I spend time going, hey, Larry, whereabouts are you based in Canada? Oh, wow, that sounds like that's freezing. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm in a gravel business. Oh, wow, how long have you had that for? What's that about? Greeting, looking for common ground, right? Maybe he mentions something about electrical, maybe he says, oh, my son's an electrician. I'll go, oh my God, I left school as an electrician. We're finding common ground. That's greeting. Second one, qualify. This is where I'm discovering the needs, wants, and don't wants. I'm going to go, before I talk about all the questions and everything that, Jenny wants me to talk about, tell me a little bit now, what have you watched already? What stood out for you the most? What excited you the most about Neumi? Have you ever used a glutathione product before? Are you familiar with nutrition? Have you been in the home-based business industry before? And I'm listening, open-ended questions, listening. Then if I've had a good greet, they like me, I've found out all the bullets, the needs, wants, and don't wants, then I go to invite. Now, invite could be an invitation to take the next step in this direction, that direction, who knows? The most common thing would be, well, sounds like, and you'll get the vibe with the thermometer, sounds like you're ready to get started. So Jenny will, sort that out. And I say this often, people will tell you in my calls, I'll say, I don't want to sound cocky, but welcome to the team, right? So I'm being assumptive in that, right? Maybe they're going, every energy is like, no business, no business. Okay, great. So I just went through the call talking product. And at the very end, this is a question for all of you upline, that if you're going, well, it just was falling on deaf ears, they're not open, just product. At the end, I'll say, hey, because I built a great rapport, I found out their needs and don't wants, and I can see this. And I go, hey, I've got one question, if that's okay. Can I ask a question? Sure. Listen, assuming you get a magnificent result with this product, which I know you're going to, because I've been involved in glutathione for 20 years. I've been using this for 8 years, and I can tell you, you're going to. Would you have any problems telling anyone else about it? They go, oh, no, I'd tell the world. You go, you do realize that's what we do for business, yes? That's all it is, right? Yes, we have a tool, we have an app and all that sort of stuff, but it's really that simple. That's what we do for business. So that's a really good segue when you've got someone who's giving you a bit of pushback, right? So third-party validation today. You now know one of the biggest secrets to faster growth that separates the biggest leaders from the slow growth businesses. And I want to reiterate it, as you grow to a bigger rank, don't lose sight of this and suddenly become the person who goes, yeah, I don't need that anymore. Stay green and growing as a crown, still green and growing, still using upline on my call, always, even to this very moment, all right? Green and growing, not ripe and rotting. So I want to thank everybody who is watching us online, and I don't want to rub it in, but I'm going to say we're going to stop the live streaming now and open up for Q&A. And that means that if people have specific questions, they get to have them answered here in this session. And if you're watching the playback, you're not going to hear it.